Hello, welcome back to Fred in the Shed, and a Fred in the Shed 200 video, because this video will get about 200 views. Right, one of these little kind of crappy things from eBay that I like to send off for, and like to do something a little bit different every now and then. And I can't even get into the bag. Let me get this bag open. So what we have here is an emergency USB charger. And in effect what it is a little dynamo with a hand crank and a USB output there, and the idea is that this would charge your mobile phone or any other USB device in an absolute emergency. Now I can't think of any time that I've ever been sort of so far away from any source of energy, be it a car charger, or when I've been camping there's always been sort of electrical hookups. But yeah, this is the idea. You would carry this and it would be able to charge your phone in an emergency. Now these are ridiculously cheap. I forget what I paid for this, but it was less than £2, so that's less than $3. And so I think first out of the packet, yeah, it's, oh my god, it's really flimsy. This is the weak point, the pivot arm here on the crank handle. And oh god, look at that. This isn't going to last 5 minutes. I would not rely on this in any type of emergency. This is seriously not going to last more than 5 minutes. The handle is incredibly flimsy, really bad. So I don't know if that's a directional. It's quite stiff as well. It doesn't want to go that way. Oh, hang on. Oh, there you go. The light comes on. Oh, it's bad. It's quite stiff to operate, and it doesn't feel particularly reassuring with this very thin plastic handle. And it keeps catching the lanyard, so I think we'll remove that. Yeah, it's a bit how you're doing. It's very no, it's still catching. It's very cheap and nasty. But anyway, let me go and find something to plug into it, and let's see if it actually works as a charger. Right, so we've got this little 5-volt LED spotlight thing here that I've had for quite some time. So we're going to plug that in. Okay. Right, there we go. And if that will stand up, let's see if that lights up. Oh! Okay, well yeah, that seems to work. It's flickering quite a lot. There's obviously no type of capacitor or anything in the charger here that is storing the energy, but oh, fair dues. With very little sort of RPM. In fact, you barely have to turn it. That's lighting up. Okay, that's better than I thought it would be. Right, the next test, I'm going to test this on a mobile phone. I'm not going to use my current mobile phone because I just don't know if there's any kind of voltage controlling circuitry in here. I mean, I imagine that, I think we'll take this apart when I've finished the testing, because I'm never going to use it. But I imagine you're turning an electric motor via a gearbox. But is the charger putting out a steady 5 volts? You sort of like flickering. Will it exceed? Is there a kind of restrictor in there, some sort of voltage restrictor that will cut the voltage at 5 volts? Or if you continue turning really fast, are you suddenly going to be putting 10 volts into something, potentially damaging it? So not sure, but we're going to use. I'm just going to get a phone, one of my older phones, and we'll give it a try and see if it can charge a phone. Right, okay, we're ready to go. We're plugged into the phone there. Let's see if the logo comes on. And it does. Well, I am surprised. And there you go, the phone is receiving charge. So, you know, in fairness, for a couple of quid, it does seem to work. It's not comfortable to use, and this handle is very weak. I don't think it would stand too long cranking, but yeah, in fairness, it does what it says on the tin. Right, next thing I want to test is I just want to test what voltage is coming out of this. So, as I say, has it got a limiter, or is it just going to go completely crazy? So we'll connect this up to a multimeter, and let's see if it can really produce a steady 5 volts. Right, so we've connected it up to a multimeter, and it's something that's quite interesting actually. Look, I've connected it up and it's already showing 1.3 volts, as if maybe there's a small capacitor in here or something that's holding a slight charge, which is a little bit odd. Right, we're going to crank it now. Let's see if the voltage will cut off at 5 volts. So we're building up, getting faster. There goes the 5, 6, and that's it. It's cut off. It doesn't matter how fast I turn. There you go. That's cut off at 6 volts. I'm going to break it eventually. Just do it again now. Yeah. So it does appear that there is some little sort of circuitry in there that is limiting the power, not exactly 5 volts, but up to 6.1. And once again there you can see that it's holding a very small voltage, 1.2, 1.3 volt, which means that's saying to me there is a capacitor inside the unit itself. That's really interesting. Right, I want to get inside this and I want to have a look, because I think there's more than just a motor, gearbox and a voltage output. I do think there is some controlling circuitry in there. So right, let's take it apart. Right, there seems to be just 2 little screws holding it together. So we'll see if we can get those out. This is one of those things, I think, when I actually undo it, it's all going to spring out and you're never going to get it back together again. Yeah, kind of get that. And there's the gearbox, and yeah, I mean I'm no electronics expert, but there we go. That's the guts of the thing. That's just a little plastic gearbox. It has got some red grease in there, which is sort of quite good. And I say that's the guts of it. We've got, which is basically an electric motor. And there is some charging controlled software. I can see we've got a diode there. We've got 2 resistors, another diode, and yeah, little tiny cap, and a transistor. And yeah, it's not too badly put together for a couple of quid, is it? It's better than I thought it would be. And there you go. So it does contain some voltage limiting components. Obviously it was at 6 volts, should have been really 5, but I think we can probably forgive it for that. And a little tiny electric motor. So that's pretty good actually. I'm relatively impressed with that. So really what lets the whole thing down is, I think, this little crank handle. This is definitely the weak point, and without a shadow of a doubt, this is what's going to break first. Probably this little bit on the end as well. That's just screwed in. So, well, I have to admit, it works. It certainly would have charged the phone. I mean, whether you want to actually stand or sit down and crank this for 4 or 5 minutes, and whether these nylon gears would stand up to it. And I'm getting all messy now. And the crank handle itself, I very much doubt it, to be honest. But yeah, did what it said on the tin. Did charge, did hold a steady voltage. So there you go. A bit of a does it suck video. Well, actually, no, it doesn't really suck. It's just the cheapness of the case and the crank handle that sucks. The components are pretty sound, really. All right, okay. Well, there you go. I'm all messy. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please give it the old thumbs up, and thank you very much for watching. At the end of the video, I'll put up some little suggestions if you want to go and watch some more Fred stuff. I would appreciate your viewing time. But as for now, I'd like to say thanks very much. Stay safe, and I'll catch you all on the next one.